and Nick.
Welcome to That Superhero Thing podcast, where we discuss the latest superhero and comic book movies and TV shows. I'm your host, Nick, and joining me, as always, is my co-host, Anthony.
Hello.
You all right?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. How are you?
I'm good. Quiet news week this week, wasn't it, Anthony? Can't think of anything that big that happened this week.
I think I've weed like 3 times this week over the news, so let's not.
Thanks for sharing and going into that much detail. Clearly we're joking. We had finally how many days is it? Probably 112 days now until Spider-Man No Way Home. We've got a Spider-Man No Way Home trailer. We will be discussing it in detail in this week's episode because we've got to, haven't we? We've got to.
Yeah.
So on this week's show, as well as the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer discussion, we'll be breaking down all the latest comic book movie news, including rumours of another delay for Venom 2. It only just got delayed 2 weeks ago.
I know.
Shang-Chi reviews, and lots of new footage has come out at CinemaCon in the US this week as well. Yeah. We'll then be giving you a full breakdown and review of What If Episode 3 before discussing your thoughts and theories in this week's Podfans Assemble. This is also your spoiler warning. There will be spoilers and speculation throughout the episode. If you'd like to skip ahead to the What If review or Podfans Assemble, we will put timestamps in the description as always. But before we get into comic book movie news, we've got our own news, haven't we, Anthony?
We have indeed.
We've talked about this. We've talked about it already. We are this week finally launching our Patreon channel. So it launches on Anthony's face. You're so excited. I'm buzzing. I can't wait for it to go live. So we are going to be launching our Patreon channel on the 1st of September. And what we thought we'd do is go through it in a bit of detail for you very briefly and just let you know what the different tiers are, what the benefits are. And then we'll post links in our description on the podcast and also on the website and on our socials. So there's going to be 3 different tiers available on the 1st of September. So we're calling them Sidekick, Superhero, and God level tiers. So we'll kick off with Sidekick. So the Sidekick tier is going to give you access to our patron exclusive Discord server. So we've already got it set up. We've put a few teasers on socials. So there's just going to basically be a chance for you to talk to us, talk to the listeners. We've got a Podfans Assemble thread. You've got the ability to listen in to the podcast as it's being recorded live, or at least the news section of it. And then there's something else on there, which we'll talk about in the God level tier. You'll get 10% off merch in our merchandise store. And then you will also get a shout out every week on the show. We're going to have a new segment at the end. It's going to be our patron shout outs at the end in the wrap up before we go. So you get a shout out every week in that. The next tier is our superhero tier. So you'll obviously get all the Sidekick benefits. But on top of that, you're going to get access to our patron-only podcast, which I don't know if we've mentioned it before. It's called That Superhero Thing Into the Podverse. Yeah. And you're going to get at least 1 new episode every month. Maybe more, but at least 1 episode a month. And when it launches, there will be 3 episodes on there already for you. Yeah. So we've got a bad movie review. We've got a Catwoman bad movie review. Yeah. That's what one we've gone for. God, that was hard work.
It was bad.
These are the things we do for our patrons. We've watched Catwoman. We've talked about it. We've relived it. That will be on there on September 1st. We've then got a MCU draft, which is me and Anthony going head to head, putting together a team of 6 Avengers in our own little civil war. I'm basically discussing it through to see whose team would win. I'm not going to spoil it. It's very one-sided. Go and listen to it on the 1st of September. And then the last one that will be on there on launch is an interview, because you guys said you wanted interviews. So a couple of weeks ago, we had Richard Nebbins from The Direct on the show, and he helped us launch the What If Chronicles event that we're currently on. And we've got an interview with him that's going to be available, talking about his work at The Direct, as well as how he's absolutely crazy opening a restaurant and starting a writing career at the same time. So again, you'll get to go and have a listen to that as well. And then finally, on the God level tier, you will get access to all the Sidekick benefits. You get all the superhero benefits as well. On top of that, though, you get access to our monthly watch parties. So every month, at least once a month, we're going to have a live video chat going with the God level patrons. You guys can pick the movie, and we'll basically sit on Zoom and we'll be watching the movie with you live, really. You will, here's the little terms and conditions bit. You will need to be able to watch the movie yourself, because we don't want to get sued by Disney or Warner Brothers or whoever it is. So basically showing you all films for the price of a Patreon subscription. You'll also get your own bio on thatsuperherothing.com. So you get access to you get your own bio on the website as well, which would be cool because you'll be up there with me and Anthony. But that's it. So again, you'll see all the prices on the Patreon website when it launches. It will be up as of the 1st of September. So please do go and check that out. Right, so that's our news done. Let's get on to comic book movie news. So the first bit of news we've got to talk about: Spider-Man No Way Home trailer. We've waited, and we've pushed and harassed Disney and Sony to put this out. They have finally released it. We'll go through it in a bit of detail. But Anthony, what did you think? Did it live up to the hype?
No, I said last week, didn't I, that I was at the point now where I was like, I just don't want anything. If this isn't going to happen, I just don't want anything. And I am so glad that I was wrong and that they did it, because it was like the perfect amount of tease. Do you know what I mean?
It was, wasn't it? Yeah, I agree. I think it
too much away, but they gave enough that it got us all like really hyped for it.
Exactly. It only really confirmed what we already know.
Yeah.
We only knew for a fact that Alfred Molina was in it, and he's the only one that we've seen. We thought, or we think we know, that Willem Dafoe is in it and Jamie Foxx is in it, but it's not been confirmed. So it just sort of hinted that they're going to be in it without giving us full confirmation.
Yeah.
And I'm also glad we didn't get to see Toby and Andrew. Yeah. I mean, there's set photos going around online, which whether they're real or not, show Toby and Andrew in costume. But I'm glad we haven't seen it. Yeah. I'm glad we didn't see it. I want to go in on the release day still not knowing for certain, and just having that little bit of doubt in my mind as to whether they are going to be are going to be in there or not, really. So should we go through the trailer in a bit of detail then?
Let's do it.
So it started off with the whole interrogation, didn't it? Well, obviously, because now everybody knows that he's Spider-Man. Now there's a lot of people thinking that in that interrogation scene, when the dude in the white shirt slams down the files in front of him on the desk, there's a lot of people thinking that that's Matt Murdock. So that's our first look at Daredevil. I completely agreed with them when I first watched the trailer. The more I watch it, and the more people berate me on Twitter for saying that it's Matt Murdock, the more I think maybe it's not, because it doesn't really, I don't say it doesn't look like him. You can't see his face, but he doesn't look like Daredevil fit. He's got a bit of a belly. And I also not convinced that they'd show him in the trailer. What do you reckon? Do you think we're actually going to see him in the movie? I
reckon he's in the movie, but I don't reckon they'll put him in the trailer.
Again, more of a tease and more of a surprise when he turns up. I also thought it was quite interesting how the movie seems to occur from the trailer. It looks like it kicks off straight after Far From Home. So that scene when they're like on the bridge, that's the same clothes. Obviously it's the upgraded suit, but it looks like MJ's wearing the same clothes. So it looks like it's going to pick up straight after that, which I think is good, because it's not just going to sort of like jump 6 months and then go, oh, well, everyone knows he's Spider-Man, and it's sort of got onto it. We see like the straight follow-up to the world now knows he's Spidey.
Well, the second one was set after Endgame anyway. So it makes sense that it can just pick up straight from there and just keep running with it. But I'm really excited to see how he deals with that in the first place before we get any of the baddies. Like, that in itself is a storyline for me, and I'm mega excited to see how it all goes through. Like, obviously we've got an idea of how from the trailer, but I just like that that's kind of the intro and how it kind of all then takes shape. Yeah,
I get the impression that the whole maybe court case is probably going to be going throughout, because in the bit in the trailer when it looks like it's when he meets Alfred Molina's Doc Ock, he's got like a suit on, so I can only assume he's like going to court and stuff. So it's like happening, all the bad guys coming throughout the movie, basically, and maybe ending with the court case. I think it's, and I know we already knew this, but a little bit of me thought that they would maybe backtrack from the idea that everybody knows he's Spider-Man, or try and think of some really quick workaround. But I think it's quite clear from the trailer that they're not going to go down that route. No. So I'm quite looking forward to seeing everyone's reaction to him being Spider-Man, but particularly Flash's, because Flash is like the biggest Spider-Man fan going, but he hates Peter. So I cannot wait to see Flash's reaction to, oh my God, Peter Parker, who I hate, is my hero. It's just going to be so good, so interesting to watch. And I wonder whether he'll stand by him because he supports Spidey, or whether he'll just completely flip and be like, I hate you, you've ruined my dreams.
I just really want to see Ned doing a fake shocked reaction, being like,
yes.
Hey, what?
Yeah, exactly. That would be so good.
I'm hearing this. I just think it'd be dead funny.
It will be. No, I like that. We also see the Sanctum, but it's all covered in snow when we see it, and I don't really get why. Is it because there's been a hole in the roof? I thought maybe there's been a hole in the roof for 5 years. Well, there has. The Hulk crashed through it. Yeah, that's it. Hulk-shaped hole in the ceiling, and it's been 5 years because everyone's disappeared 5 years ago. But I also thought they're magic, the wizards. Surely it'd just be like a 2-minute spell, just fix the hole and get rid of the snow. I'm wondering whether maybe there's like a spell gone wrong, and it's put the whole Sanctum into winter, and that's why Wong's buggering off. And I do wonder whether, from how Strange was acting in that trailer, is that our Doctor Strange? Like, even from the very start, when he did like the little wink at Peter, when Wong was like, "Don't do that spell," and he gave his little obvious wink. I'm not convinced it is our Strange, and I wonder maybe whether that's why the Sanctum's covered in snow, because we've got somebody in there who maybe isn't as good a wizard, or maybe he's trying to get rid of the rest of the sorcerers. Maybe he doesn't want Wong there. Maybe that's the plan. He's making it as inhospitable as possible at the Sanctum to sort of get everybody cleared.
Who are you thinking that it is, though?
Well, I know who you're thinking it probably is.
No, I have no idea, because it's.
No, I thought you'd be jumping straight on the Mephisto train.
Oh no!
You don't think it's Mephisto?
Right, I'm putting this out there now. Mephisto is not in this film. I know it.
What? You're saying he's not in this film? There's far too much
going on to throw Mephisto in this one. So
there's too many bad guys already.
I'm quite satisfied that I can go through this film and not expect Mephisto to turn up at any point. I'm good.
Maybe
in
the post credits. Maybe in the post credits. Maybe. I don't know. I just don't think it's. I'm not convinced it's just our Strange. I wonder whether it's Doctor Strange Supreme who we're going to see in What If.
But how would it be if the multiverse thing hasn't happened yet? Because from what.
But it has happened.
But what we're seeing in the trailer, but you don't know where in the timeline they are. So how do you know?
No, I know we don't know.
Happened?
I know.
From what we can see, it looks like that's the cause of it, that spell that he makes.
But I thought, Loki and Sylvie's the cause of it. Loki and Sylvie are the cause of the multiverse. We know that from the end of Loki, because they had the opportunity to stop it, and because they let because Sylvie because Sylvie killed Kang. I'll get it out in a minute. Because Sylvie killed Kang, that's why the multiverse happened. So it feels like I kind of feel like in WandaVision we saw the multiverse created, kind of, when she became Scarlet Witch.
A lot of people are starting to say that these three events have all happened at the same moment.
I agree that they probably have, but which one did it?
I think that's going to be part of the whole thing. We don't know at this moment who did it.
I wonder whether we're going to get to the point where we find out that none of them did it, and something else
that to be the thing
bigger. Yeah, something else bigger has done it. I just think the other thing as well with that to make me think it maybe isn't our Strange, or there's something going on with Strange, is the whole scene on the train. It looks like he's throwing train cars at Spider-Man, and it's like, well, why would Doctor Strange be doing that? And then he also pushes Peter's astral form out of Spider-Man, or out of his body. And I wonder what that's all about. And Peter's holding like a box. Did you notice that in the trailer? He's got a box in his hand.
No.
Yeah, he's got like and it's got the emblem of the Sanctum on it. And there's a few rumors online, or there's a few people suggesting online anyway, that it might be some sort of imprisonment device. And maybe Spidey's trying to imprison Strange because he maybe knows it isn't him. And that's why, and there's a fight going on. There's definitely more to it. I'm really bad with the names, I'm sorry. Who was the bad guy in the first Doctor Strange film? Mordo.
Yeah.
Mordo wasn't the bad. You mean Dormammu?
I'm talking about him. What did you say his name was? Mordo. No.
Mordo was his mate who turned dark at the end.
Yeah, Mordo's back in this one.
Yeah, he is, yeah. So maybe it's Mordo?
Exactly, that's what I was trying to say.
Oh, sorry.
I was
Just ruined it. Sorry. Yeah, spot on. I haven't even thought of that. I'm sitting there trying to think who would it be. Maybe it is Mordo pretending to be strange. Well done, Anthony. I like it. We're only 2 minutes into the podcast, but well done. You're on fire already, mate. Well done. Okay, let's keep going. Villains then. So we see one villain, but there's nods to lots of potential villains or returning villains. Yeah. So obviously we see Alfred Molina as Doc Ock, which is fantastic. He was so good in Spider-Man 2, and I know we knew we were getting him back, but just see exactly. Even though we knew he was going to be there.
Yes.
Yeah, I know, absolutely brilliant. And I'm not convinced when he's. I mean, the line "Hello, Peter" was fantastic, but I'm not convinced he's talking to Tom Holland. I think he's got to be talking to Tobey Maguire.
Yeah, because he wouldn't be looking at, like, how would he know that that's still Peter?
Exactly. Because I mean, he might know it's Peter, but it's just the way he said it. It just feels like it's got to be Toby.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we also see Willem Dafoe's pumpkin bombs or Green Goblin's pumpkin bombs, and we hear his laugh as well. So he's got to be in it.
Can I just point out something?
Go for it.
So you know that there's been talks of Mysterio coming back because it's the Sinister Six.
Yeah.
One thing that I've noticed that I've not seen said anywhere else. You know, we're talking about. So I mean, we're about to go through kind of all the different things that we potentially are seeing. Have you noticed that they're very similar to the Elementals, though?
Yeah, I know what you mean. What Electro and the sand and stuff.
Yeah. So that's making me think that that's the nod that Mysterio is back.
Maybe I can just. Do you know what would? You know what I mean? I don't know whether. I hope this isn't the case, but from you saying that, a little bit of me thinks, what if the whole Green Goblin, Doc Ock, Electro and everything are all just creations from Mysterio's mind, and it's all just like Ralph Boner. It's like to make us think that there's a multiverse, it's multiversal. Can you? Because at the end of the day, that's what they did with Ralph Boner.
Yeah.
We all looked at that and thought that is Pietro, and it wasn't. They've just used the actor, and it was just literally completely fabricated.
I'll be really upset if they do it that way.
Agatha. And can you imagine if it was all just the whole thing was just Mysterio was just the bad guy getting in series 3? Oh, series
like waking
movie
up
number
and
3.
It was all a dream. Like I can't be asked with that. That's not okay.
Wouldn't be good. Let's hope that's not the case. So anyway, we got Goblin. We see all the lightning, yellow lightning this time instead of the blue lightning in Amazing Spider-Man 2. It's got to be Electro, hasn't it? It's got to be leaning towards that. I'm convinced we saw Sandman. I mean, I know there was sand in the trailer, but that shot when the bolt of lightning hit or was about to hit Peter in the black and gold suit, it looks to me like the sand jumps up and sort of takes the hit before it gets there, rather than it being created by the explosion, which makes me think maybe Sandman is still good and he's protecting Peter.
Yeah.
Or suppose he could have just made a cock up and got in the way. And then the last one, which is in like a split second of a scene, it does look like the lizard's in it.
Yeah, in the cage.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's a cage. It looks like he's trying to attack Peter, but then maybe magic stops it.
Oh, I thought it was like...
He's got like a magic force field. Maybe it is a cage. It was very, very dark, and it was very, very quick. But there's something there, and it's basically a big monster, isn't it, at the end of the day?
Yeah.
So I ran some polls on Twitter after the trailer dropped, and I just wanted to see what everybody else's thoughts were on what we were potentially seeing in the trailer. So the first poll I wrote was, firstly, is it Charlie Cox / Matt Murdock in the interrogation room scene? 73% of people thought it was Matt Murdock.
Oh, really?
With 27%. Yeah. I'll be honest, I hope it's true. I'm not really with you on that one, guys. I think I think he'll be in it. I just don't think that's Matt Murdock. We then put, what does the lightning hit in the new Spider-Man No Way Home trailer? Is it Sandman, or does it just cause an explosion? Again, 70% of people think it is Sandman. I'm with you on that one. I think it's got to be Sandman. It just it looks like a figure stands up and then obviously gets smashed to pieces.
Where's the sand in New York City? Where's there that much sand? It's not a thing.
Well, some people are saying that it's not sand; it's just an explosion. It's just smoke. from an explosion. But yeah, I'm not buying that one. And then the last one, I put, okay, just for fun, is the lizard in the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer. And then the options I gave were, well, let's just go through it. 53% think they saw lizard. So 53% of people thought it was lizard. 26% of people said it's not lizard. And then I also put, is it Venom? And 21% of people think it's Venom. I'd love it to be Venom. I'd love it to be Topher Grace's Venom back. That'd be absolutely amazing. God. So before we finish up on the trailer, do we want another trailer? Or was that enough just to tease it?
I think that was enough, you know.
I don't want another one, but it's just the fact that they call it a teaser makes me think we're going to get another one.
I think if we get another one, I'm frightened it's going to give too much.
Me too. Well, we had Ren on last week, didn't we? And I can't remember if they said it on the podcast or to us. Ren wouldn't watch final trailers because he thinks that final trailers give too much away. And I've always watched the trailers. And don't get me wrong, I want to be watching things and reporting to you guys on the podcast. But if there is another trailer, I'll be very, very tempted not to watch it because I don't want to get everything completely spoiled. I want to go in there with still a little bit of surprise and uncertainty on the trailer. Yeah. Let's crack on with the rest of the news then. So we've talked about it, as I said a couple of weeks ago, Venom 2 potentially delayed again. So earlier in the week, Vulture reported that it had been delayed again and would now be taking Morbius's January release date, which obviously means Morbius was going to get pushed back. But then I think it was only yesterday, Sony Studio Insiders come out and said that it's untrue, and that at the moment it's still on for its October release date. I think I'd worry that if it gets pushed back again, it's potentially going to kill the movie at this point because and I know everything got delayed massively because of the pandemic, but this just feels like it's never going to come out.
This is totally out of fear for Sony's part. Sony struggles in comparison to Marvel and stuff like that with these kind of movies. And I think that they are doing a similar thing in that they are waiting to see how Shang-Chi does before they make a final decision.
I agree. And maybe they're testing the water by letting the info come out.
Everyone is just watching that box office to see how it does. And I think everyone's going to make the decision based on Shang-Chi. So everyone, please go.
And I think they have to.
So that we can get everything out on time, please. Thanks.
I know. And I think it was the guy who, high up at Disney. His name just completely jumped out of my head. But he said, which hasn't gone down well, he said Shang-Chi is an experiment. And I don't think that's a very good way of putting it because I think it's going to be a fantastic film. And I think it's a big thing to happen. The fact that we've got Simu Liu in the leading role in this movie. But
I agree his wording wasn't great, but I also understand his meaning because he's not talking about the film being an experiment. He's talking about the release at this point. Yeah.
Talking to Shang-Chi then, next bit of news. We've had the first reactions come out to it. I know obviously it got premiered a couple of weeks ago, but the reviews are now coming out. It's on Rotten Tomatoes. It's got 92% on Rotten Tomatoes, so certified fresh. Yeah. The critics' consensus says Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings isn't entirely free of Marvel's familiar formula, but this exciting origin story expands the MCU in more ways than one. And the reviews have just said it's brilliant. Absolutely rave reviews for it. Cannot wait. One review said it makes Black Widow look like an episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is a bit harsh on Black Widow. But yeah, cannot wait for that. We will be covering Shang-Chi on a bonus episode of the podcast.
Yeah.
And that'll be coming out on Sunday, the 5th of September. So there'll be 2 podcasts that week as well. So looking forward to that. Next bit of news, we have found out that Ironheart, or Riri Williams, who's obviously getting her own Disney Plus series next year, she's actually going to make her MCU debut in Black Panther 2. So we're going to see her earlier than we thought she was. So Kevin Feige's confirmed that Dominique Thorne is going to make the debut in Black Panther, and we've actually seen her on the set of she wasn't acting, but I think it looked like it was her walking to set, to be fair.
Yeah.
But makes you wonder, is she going to be Wakandan? Because she's not in the comics, but makes you wonder whether they're maybe going to tie that in some way, maybe mates with Shuri.
Well, I didn't know whether it was going to be head, because she's a genius as well, isn't she? So I don't know whether it's going to be a kind of experimental thing with Shuri. They're putting their heads together to work something out, and that's how it starts to come about. Potentially, yeah.
She could even be a student of Shuri, I suppose, couldn't she? Because Wakanda's expanded into the rest of the world now, hasn't it? So maybe it's some way like that. I think it's good though, because to be able to see her sooner is brilliant. And then we've got CinemaCon 2021. I know it's 2021. Don't know why I felt the need to say 2021. It's not going to be 2022, is it? But CinemaCon ran this week. There's quite a lot of footage and info come out of that. So obviously we got the Spidey trailer, or it was shown at CinemaCon as well as being released online. Ghostbusters was shown in full.
Yeah.
Completely surprised. So I don't think anybody knew they were going to get to see it. I think people thought they were going to get to see some exclusive footage from it. But yeah, they got to see the movie in full. No massively detailed reviews at this stage, but the reactions to it have been overwhelmingly positive. So everybody's saying it's really good. It's got just the right amount of nostalgia in it. It doesn't let the original films down, and it's the proper sequel to it rather than the one that we got a couple of years ago. There's also been the new Matrix. So the Matrix 4 title has been confirmed. So it's going to be called Matrix Resurrections. Yeah. And there was a trailer shown as well. And Screen Rant gave a full breakdown of the trailer. I'm not going to go into massive detail, but Neo is back in the Matrix. I don't know how. Didn't he die?
I have no idea what happened in them films. I need to watch it again because honestly,
so do I.
I was baffled by the end of the first one, and then I don't know how they wrote two more because I was like, I don't even know what happened in this one.
Oh no, I got the first one. I thought the first one was great. I just lost me with number 2 and 3. But Neo's back in the Matrix. Neil Patrick Harris is in it. We knew that. He's his therapist. He's getting him to take 2 blue pills a day to keep him in the Matrix. We see a young Morpheus, because Lawrence Fishburne's not in it, as we said a few months ago now. Probably he wasn't asked to return, which is really, really weird. But it's same sort of thing. He ends up being dragged back out of the Matrix by a younger version of Morpheus. He's got the same sort of power set, except this time apparently there's a clip where...
Isn't that just the same story as Men in Black 3?
Well, it's the same story as The Matrix 1, isn't it? Kind of.
I don't know what happened in Matrix 1.
You don't know? No, it's kind of the same thing. He's in the Matrix. He gets pulled out of Matrix. Yeah, no, kind of is, yeah. But yeah, as I'm saying, he can control... He could stop bullets with his mind, couldn't he, in the first one? But in this one, he can redirect missiles from rocket launchers and all that sort of stuff. So even more super-powered Neo and his face. You don't look very impressed. But yeah, so that is 22nd of December. The trailer was obviously released at CinemaCon, so I would imagine that we'll probably get it within the next week. It comes out a week after Spider-Man, so logic would say that we get the trailer for Matrix for next week.
There was also a bit of a teaser with Jurassic World Dominion, wasn't there?
There was, yeah. That only came out today. I haven't really got into that in detail. Go on. What did you see from there?
So it was pretty much backstage interviews with the cast kind of thing,
like a featurette.
Yeah. And it started with some footage from the original Jurassic Park with Sam Neill and the little boy. What was his name? Can't remember his name. And it being explained to him why the mosquito in the amber was so important and stuff like that. And then it jumped to Sam Neill now talking about how amazing it is to be back on set and things like that. We had Laura Dern come on and start talking as well. And then it cut to like Chris Pratt talking about how, that cup with the water starting to shake as the footsteps come in of the T-Rex, how it's just like an iconic 90s image nowadays.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah. And then they got some little cut scenes of essentially what feels like a James Bond spy type of movie. It is.
Yeah, I read this.
It is essentially that the idea of what are you going to be safe in a world where dinosaurs are just loose? And obviously the answer is no. But it looks like from the clips that they've got that they are literally all over the world in different terrains constantly, either running from or to dinosaurs. I don't know in what concept or anything like that. You've got Chris Pratt in the snow on a vehicle trying to get through as fast as he can. You've got Claire Dearing running across rooftops in Europe. Like there's literally, I think it just sounds like it's such an epic movie. And I am genuinely so excited for it. It hurts.
Yeah. It hurts. Because Anthony loves dragons and dinosaurs, as you'll know if you've listened to the podcast before.
I'm so excited.
anything with dragons and dinosaurs. Anthony's all over it. Anthony's all over it. So we also got, I think the last thing, which as I said, that sounds really good. I can't wait for that. But we also got some Batman footage. So they released similar. I think it sounds pretty similar to the Jurassic World or the Jurassic World Dominion footage. So it's like a bit of a featurette. And comicbook.com did a bit of a report on that. So there was a clip with Matt Reeves, who's obviously directing it. He's basically said this isn't another origin story, which is good because we don't need another Batman origin story, even though it feels like quite a while since we've had one, because I think it was Batman Begins was the last one.
Yeah.
It's just early years Batman. So it's like a year into being Batman. So he's still fresh to it, but we don't have to go through the whole process. Which it makes sense, I suppose, because as I said, not only have we seen it before, but when we get these origin stories, they tend to go from I've never been Batman to absolute badass, beating up like the biggest supervillains in an hour and a half.
It's like already know all of the bad guys, and there's no kind of like introduction. Like I want to see Batman being like, "What the hell?" when the one of them first arrives. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That kind of thing.
Yeah. You want to threat. Which we've not seen before, really, have we?
No.
We see Andy Serkis finally as Alfred. I think we heard him in the first trailer, but we didn't see him. So you see him in the featurette, and then apparently you also see the Batmobile in action, which would be good because it's a very different take on the Batmobile. It's just looks like a Dodge Charger, doesn't it, with a Bat logo on it? To be fair, but yeah, that'll be interesting. Hopefully, we'll see either a trailer or a teaser for that soon. That is out 4th of March.
Do you reckon we'll recognise any of the backgrounds?
Yeah, potentially. It's all where they've done Liverpool. They've done Liverpool. They've done. Oh no! Glasgow's the Flash. See, this is the one. This is the problem. I can't remember which Batman's Batman. I thought it was. I was thinking Glasgow, but that was the other Batman.
Yeah.
So Liverpool.
Keaton, that one.
That was the Michael Keaton one. Yeah, right round the corner from us. So that was So that'll be quite interesting as well.
So I saw that Robert, like obviously we had the images of Robert Pattinson on the Liver building as well. That's probably going to be CGI to hell to make it look more Gotham-y. But like the idea that he's on one of the most infamous buildings in Liverpool, which is pretty cool.
I don't know whether I've said this on the podcast, really interesting. I was driving home from IKEA through Liverpool when it was being filmed. Just thought I'd throw IKEA in there. And, when you get like the big vehicle carriers, we were pulled up at traffic lights and my wife was like, they're all weird, those cars, aren't they? And I literally looked next to us and there's just a whole shed load of GCPD police cars all sat on this truck. It was amazing. And then before I could get my camera out, it drove off. So I was a bit gutted about that. Last bit of news then, we've literally just squeezing it in because it's just come through today. On Twitter, Daniel Reitman, who tends to get a lot of these exclusives and gets a lot of scoops, he's come out today and said that in Doctor Strange 2, Wanda is going to fight someone from the Foxverse. He says he can't say who it is at this stage, but it's probably going to be better than the Thanos Doctor Strange fight from Infinity War. And this has now been backed up by multiple other sources. So this has got me. I wasn't really excited for Doctor Strange 2 compared to Spider-Man. And I know everybody else seemed to be, but Spider-Man was just the one that I was more interested in seeing because of Toby and Andrew. But now that we're it's only sort of like hitting me now that we're going to get potentially so many Foxverse characters, multiverse characters coming into this movie.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for it. I don't know who it could be. My first thought to go up against Wanda would be someone like Jean Grey.
Yeah.
Which I think would be amazing to watch. Right, so news is done. Should we get on with what we're here for? What If, episode 3?
Let's do it.
Recap and review. So, what if the world lost its mightiest heroes? Quite a wordy title, I thought.
Yeah.
Just felt like a lot longer than usual. There will be spoilers right the way through. It was, again, different tone. It was a murder mystery this week, which I liked. It seems like we've had most other genres
It was like
in the MCU at this stage.
It was like an Agatha Christie episode on it.
It was, wasn't it? Like just expecting Miss Marple to pop up and start and help Nick Fury figure out who was killing all the Avengers. But yeah, it feels like we've had pretty much everything now. We've now had murder mystery. We've got horror coming in Doctor Strange 2. We've had we've had heist movies and stuff like that. I think we just need Bollywood. I think we need a Bollywood MCU movie now, and I think we've covered every movie genre. Probably, I'd watch a Bollywood MCU movie.
Yeah,
I'd
me
watch
too.
that. I think we could. Did you figure it out who it was, or did you only get onto it when Hank Pym showed up?
Right. So this is where me and you differ, if you remember. If I'm watching something, I try not to think ahead. I just live for the moment and I enjoy what happens. So I wasn't trying. I mean, I was a little bit going, who the friggin' hell could this be? Because I don't get it. I don't know. I didn't understand how all of these. It was such different things until it was explained at the end. That I was like,
Yeah.
how are they doing all of them? Do you know what I mean? So I was really confused
I know what you mean.
by
Yeah.
it. But
It was quite.
I don't overthink it. So I just kind of, when it happens, I go, oh.
See, I was trying to figure it out as we went through, but I mean, it was. I think the two reasons. It, like you said, it was hard to try and piece it together. It was like the hardest game of Cluedo ever because I just couldn't figure out how it was being done or who was doing it. And at no point did I guess it was Hank Pym inside the Hulk with a Pym particle disc. Do you know what I mean? It's like it was just too hard.
We should have a Cluedo board game.
we should have a what if murder mystery Cluedo. I just couldn't. I couldn't get it. And I also think because it was so quick, you didn't really because it's a 28-minute episode. You didn't get time to sit and sort of ponder who it was. Every time something happened, you were on to the next murder, and you didn't have time to sort of figure out where it was. I thought it was Loki at first when it was all happening because we knew Loki was going to be in this episode. But then as soon as Loki showed up, I was like, nah, it's not. It can't be. Can't be Loki now.
For 1 second thought it was going to be Loki.
Oh, didn't you? Oh no, I just kept thinking again, didn't get too much time to think about it. I couldn't think who else it would possibly be. And I got a few ideas as we went through. All of them wrong. Completely wrong. until at no point until I saw Hank Pym at the end did I think it was Hank Pym. Not in the slightest. And even then I kind of doubted it.
Just a little bit before though, you did mention his daughter. Before
on the tweets.
Yeah.
But I think I think it's because he'd said what did he say? This you've got to have hope, or it's about hope, or something like that. Yeah. That was it. Yeah, but I didn't twig onto the fact that it was Hank at all. I was just sitting thinking, what's it got to do with it? And I thought when Black Widow was getting killed, and she said it's hope, it's all about hope. Yeah. I could have sworn the first time I watched it, she was saying it's Hulk, it's all about Hulk.
Yeah, I thought that as well. I thought there's so much noise going on. I think it could have just been easily misinterpreted.
And that threw me because I was like, well, what the hell has this got to do with Hulk? And then when I saw Hank Pym, I was like, what the hell has this got to do with what's this got to do with Hulk? Is there going to be something else popping up? But completely, that did throw me. And I wonder whether that was intentional at that stage to make it sound a little bit different. Should we go through? Let's go through the murders then. It's like revisiting it. Let's do like a little Poirot, a little episode of that superhero thing, Poirot. Let's go through the murders and think like what we thought of each one. So first murder was obviously Tony Stark. I was gobsmacked when that happened. I was like, it's like a minute in and it's like Tony's dead, and quite brutally as well. It was just like, didn't see it coming.
No, not at all. And I couldn't understand. I was like, I was literally looking at everything else. I was like, was it the food he was just given? Was it the drink that he had? I was like, how has this poison been administered? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I thought it was Widow at first. My first reaction was, this is maybe a tear and she's gone rogue and she's going to be the one. Because I think we'd had obviously we had the trailer, but I think we had a clip released after the trailer.
So you didn't think it was Loki pretending to be Widow?
No.
Okay.
No. My first reaction only for like a minute because of how quick the episode went. But in the clip that was released, I think the clip was where Black Widow beats up all the S.H.I.E.L.D. agents in the van and escapes.
Yeah.
And because it's seen that, and then this happened, I thought maybe she's gone rogue and she's killing all the Avengers. But it was only when I realised that Fury trusted her, and he was like, "I know it wasn't you." I sort of bought that straight away. I was like, "Well, if he trusts you, I don't think it's you. It's you either." But I mean, I know he's a very killable character, isn't he, Tony? Because he's human at the end of the day, and if he's not sort of like all kitted out in his suit, which he was here, but it was still just massively surprising that they were going to go down this route. I didn't think it would be. I knew obviously it wasn't going to be. It was about not having the Avengers together.
Well,
but I thought it'd be different reasons other than them all being killed.
If you think about it, Ren said something in when we were talking to him after the podcast about it being.
Did he?
Bit, yeah. Well, he just said. He said I can't even remember what he said specifically, but it was just something along the lines of the Suicide Squad, the first 5 minutes of Suicide Squad.
He did, didn't he?
Yeah.
He did. I'm going to start picking all Ren's comments apart now as to what he said.
And now I get it, because it was like we were shocked that someone died that quickly in the episode.
Yeah, we were. Yeah, no, it was good, good. And I think, do you know what? I think that they did it quite well. I mean, we'll go through the rest of the murders in a second, but I think that the order that they killed them all in was quite clever, because every death, well, not every death, but most of the deaths as they were going still surprised you. So obviously, I mean, as I said, Tony's very killable. He's human. I wasn't convinced they'd kill Thor, because I thought maybe they'll get rid of him in a different way, because Thor's Thor. So when Thor died, that would surprise me. Hawkeye didn't, but
can we stop?
I mean, I still
and just talk about Coulson's comments about Thor. The whole
let's go. Let's go into Thor then.
Wet myself. It was so funny. Like, what was he calling him? Like,
how he's gorgeous.
Yeah, and then that. Yeah, hair. And then he's like,
that hair. That hair's amazing.
It was just so good.
And then what should we call it? Sam Jackson saying he's like a Chippendale. We've got an intergalactic Chippendale been murdered. And then when he's dead, Coulson's still sniffing him. He's like, even while he's rotten, he smells like lavender.
It was so funny.
It was good. I don't get the impression Chris Hemsworth voiced any element of him, because I'm just trying to think. I don't think he actually said a line, did he? In the whole episode?
I think he said something.
Did he?
He's on his way to the hammer. But I think it was only like one line.
Maybe. It was good that whole scene was, I know it played out very well to, very close to what it was originally, but yeah, it was very well done. I thought it was quite good as well when he died.
I thought he died dead easy.
Yeah, I did. I know he's mortal, but I expected more of a fight. I mean, not that I expected a death. As I said, I wondered whether he'd end up. My first thought was he was going to pick it up and bugger off. Yeah. So rather than him being died, because we still didn't know it was a murder mystery at this stage. No, you know what I mean? We knew the Avengers weren't going to be there, but we didn't know they were all going to get killed off. Yeah. So I thought he's going to be able to pick it up, and he's just going to leave, because he's not been through the process of becoming a good person at this stage. Because it's not until after he can't pick it up at that point that he becomes not an arsehole. Yeah. So I thought that's where he was going to go. So again, it massively surprised me when that happened. I thought it was good as well though when Hawkeye was telling Nick Fury that no one could pick it up, and I think he said even Jones can't pick it up and he does CrossFit.
It was so good.
It was good, wasn't it? Yeah. We didn't get. I know people hate Hawkeye, but we didn't get enough Hawkeye in Thor 1. We should have got more Hawkeye in that movie.
Yeah.
So talking of Hawkeye, he's the next to go. He's the next one. He's the next one dead. But again, saying we didn't get enough Hawkeye in Thor 1, and I know obviously we got much more of him even in this than we did in Thor 1. He's the only one that we didn't really see his death. No. We just found him dead in the cell at this point. And it feels like, why did they not give us a death for Hawkeye? How did Hawkeye even die? Did we even see it when Pym went round, when we sort of saw Pym killing everybody, how he'd killed Hawkeye?
I don't think so. Not that I can remember now.
I've watched this I think I've watched this like 4 times, and I don't remember seeing it. It feels like it was a bit of an afterthought. It's like, let's kill the Avengers. We'll kill him this way. We'll kill him that way. Hawkeye can just be dead in his cell. Nobody cares about Clint Barton.
Yeah.
We'll just leave him. The thing Natasha cared. Natasha's reaction to it was quite good when Fury told her, and she's just like, "Who do I kill? That's it." And you could see again, even though this is animated, and it wasn't obviously ScarJo, it was Lake Bell who did the voice, but we'll come on to characters a little bit later. But again, it was good. She was good. Hulk was the next death, and again, this even though we'd had 3 deaths, it shocked me that they killed Hulk, because it was like we said Tony's very killable. Hulk is completely unkillable, but then you realize how easy it is potentially to kill him.
Yeah.
And it kind of comes back to the whole Ant-Man jumping up Thanos' butthole in Infinity War, and that's how they do it. I do wonder whether, you know, when we were talking about AC Bradley having all these different ideas for what if episodes, I do wonder whether there was one where Ant-Man jumped up Thanos' butt and killed him that way, and that was a what if, and they thought, Feige's gone, no, you can't do that. So she's gone, right, well, I'm doing it, but I'm going to do it this way instead. just do it slightly differently. Yeah. But it was brutal. It was like a proper brutal. I mean, it was brutal when you saw it for the first time, but then when we went back and realized what he'd done, he'd basically hit his heart with a pin particle disc.
Yeah.
And it had just blown up his entire body. It's just like, I don't want to spoil the MCU draft that we did, but I was going to say something then. But I suppose Ant-Man is just like unstoppable, because you can't see him. He's completely, he is basically invisible.
Apparently, unless you're Nick Fury.
Unless you're Nick Fury, yeah, but it's not Nick Fury, is it?
Well, no.
No, it's Loki, isn't it? We've seen it, but it's like he could kill anybody that way. I bet he could have killed Thanos that way if he just thrown a pin particle disc at his heart. He could have done it. Yeah, I just thought, I was very surprised that they killed Hulk, and I thought it was good. It was the most shocking one, and it was brutal, but it was hilarious.
It was
watching it, just when he went up and just like, and it looked like smoke on the script on the show, like, but just the way it blew up. And then the last one was Widow, who basically just got beaten to death by Hank Pym.
That was kind of quite thrillery more than anything else, that one, wasn't it? Being dragged into the darkness and stuff.
Yeah, but I still couldn't figure out that it was him. Yeah. I was thinking, I don't know whether I messaged it at the time, I was thinking Ghost from Ant-Man 2, because of the whole invisibility thing, or Drax. Because Drax is invisible, so you wouldn't see it.
I would have been mega disappointed if it was Ghost.
Yeah, I thought that. I hope it's not. Yeah. I hope it's not Ghost, because it wouldn't make sense to the story.
No, it wouldn't. But to be honest, I didn't think Hank was the best option.
I didn't, but I think he was. I wouldn't have thought. I suppose when I saw that it was Hank doing it again, I didn't see it at all until I saw him and heard him. And obviously you could tell it was Michael Douglas doing the voice. Yeah. At no point had I twigged on that it was actually going to be him doing it. And I suppose for a split second, I thought, oh, is that it? I hope there's more to this. But it kind of made sense when you found out that Hope had died. Yeah. But also, I think Michael Douglas did a really good job of it, of crazy Hank Pym. And he looked it, he sounded it, and at a couple of points I thought, is this Michael Douglas? Because it doesn't 100% sound like him.
No,
it sounds like he's much more off the rails than Michael Douglas. But it just showed. But it was Michael Douglas. He was just doing a really good job of doing the voice and of the scene. But I am glad. But it wasn't just normal Hank Pym. He was the Yellow Jacket, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He had it was slightly different to Darren Cross's in Ant-Man. But yeah, I thought that was quite interesting. So let's talk about the characters then. So obviously we got Michael Douglas back, and then we had obviously at the forefront of the episode, it was Nick Fury. Ren said it was a Nick Fury episode last week. It was full on Nick Fury episode. I didn't doubt what Ren had told us, but and as exciting as the episode sounded, I was a little bit gutted that it was going to be a Nick Fury episode because he's not super powered. Do you know? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I mean, Nick Fury is an absolute legend, and Sam Jackson's brilliant.
I was so shocked at the fight scene at the end because I was like, "Oh, boy, he's got."
How's he doing this?
And then
exactly.
And then we found out it was actually Loki anyway. So
yeah, but again, I didn't twig onto that.
I didn't twig onto it being Loki until the end.
No, I think it was only when he multiplied.
Yeah,
when he multiplied. At first, I thought, is it just? I think at first I just thought, bloody hell, Nick Fury, we never get to see him actually do anything. He's really hard.
I think I thought that about 3 seconds before he started changing it, because I think I wrote it on the live tweet first, didn't I?
What, that he's just hard as nails?
No, Loki.
Oh, did you? Oh, okay. Yeah, I think you did. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I said I didn't get onto it until he started cloning himself. But when I went back for a second viewing, it was kind of obvious with how he talks.
Yeah.
It's like, which again I thought was quite a good job by Sam Jackson, because he did sound different, and the things he was saying, it's like how he referred to Thor was very like, you could, his tone changed when he was talking about Thor, because obviously it was his brother, called Tony Anthony Stark. And then like the surprise, like when he says my daughter, he says your daughter was an agent, and he was very surprised, and he was just kind of like laughing and stuff like that. And I thought maybe it's just Nick Fury being really arsey, but it makes more sense when you know it is actually Loki. So Loki was in the episode as well. So we got Tom Hiddleston back as the ruler, now the ruler of Asgard, because Thor's gone. I suppose Thor's just happened at that stage, isn't it? It is Thor that's happening. It was great having all we got all the classic Loki lines, like you're made to be ruled, and all that sort of stuff,
all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I didn't think Tom Hiddleston did a fantastic job of it, though. I've been very picky about the voice acting. It didn't. Tom Hiddleston, right? Tom Hiddleston is amazing. I think he's a fantastic actor. I think he's great in the MCU. But I feel like we said this on like the first week, just because they're really good, doing live action acting doesn't necessarily translate to voiceover work.
I feel like there are voice actors and body actors, though. And I feel Tom Hiddleston is amazing and is a very good voice actor, but I don't think it can come across 100% without the body interpretation of it as well. I think
it's the facial expressions that he pulls and stuff like that,
facial expressions, the movements, the way he holds himself, it all kind of comes and becomes one thing for him. Whereas I think if you take some of that away, it's difficult for anybody. I'm not going to lie, it is a very difficult job to voice act, because you've got to get everything out without being able to show any kind of, all the emotions got to come through the voice. Everything that you want to express has to come through that voice, and if it doesn't, it can flop dead bad, and that's like anything. I still enjoyed him being in it, and I enjoyed that it was his voice.
Yeah, so did I. Yeah,
but I also get what you mean.
It wasn't. Again, I think he's normally like the standout actor in everything he's in, and he wasn't. He wasn't in this. I'd probably say it was Sam Jackson, to be fair.
Yeah.
But anyway, he ends up taking over the world. So Loki wins. Loki wins without actually doing anything. He ends up completely ruling Midgard, which is obviously what he wanted.
Are we potentially getting President Loki by the end?
Potentially, yeah. I suppose we could do, wouldn't we? I'm thinking more of like he'd have to be part of the new Earth's Avengers. Because he's the only Asgardian. He's not the only Asgardian, but he's probably the most powerful Asgardian who's now on Earth. And at the end of the day, if he's ruling it, if somebody like Thanos comes along trying to sort of claim it or destroy it, you'd think he'd have to sort of stand up for it, or would he just run? Yeah, I suppose he might just run, wouldn't he? So we got other characters. Then we got Black Widow, which wasn't Scarlett Johansson, as we said, which is pretty obvious why, but we won't go into that story again. So we got instead Lake Bell, who's she's really good voice actress. She's been in loads of things. She does Poison Ivy in the Harley Quinn show. She was Vanessa Fisk in Spider-Verse, and I remember she did a movie a few years ago as well called Inner World, where she plays a voiceover artist doing like movie trailers and stuff. So she's good, and again she did a really good job in this. It clearly wasn't Scarlett Johansson. I feel like every other voice actor who stepped in,
they've had similarities with the voice.
It's like they've tried to be that person. Like Josh Keaton was trying to be Steve Rogers, wasn't he? Even I can't remember the guy's name. The guy who did the voice of Tony Stark. I thought he was really good. I thought it was archive audio from Iron Man 2 at first, because he did a really good job. But Lake Bell didn't sound anything like Scarlett Johansson, but she still did a really good job of it. Yeah, but she did a really good job of it. I completely bought it, because I think it's quite jarring normally when you know a character, like in the Avengers game. I mean, I didn't play the whole thing because it wasn't a great game, but obviously they don't. The characters in that, not only do they not look like their MCU counterparts, but they sound nothing like them either, and it is very jarring at that stage, because you're like, well, that's not the Tony Stark I know, or the Captain America I know. That's not my Captain America. And I think I'm quite surprised that I didn't have that reaction with Black Widow. I just thought at first, for a split second, I was like, "Whoa, this sounds nothing like Scarlett Johansson," but completely bought into her by the end. And character-wise, again, she was sort of Miss Marple to Sam Jackson's Poirot, wasn't she? Yeah. She was like helping try and figure it all out, but obviously she ended up getting killed at the end. And then weirdly, one of the only people who does survive the episode is Coulson. It was obviously the only one who's not really alive anymore. Obviously, Black Widow is not. Let's talk about Coulson. Having Clark Gregg back in the MCU is amazing. There's rumors that he's going to be back in Secret Invasion. Like live action. Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was great getting him back in Captain Marvel, but yeah, just the more Clark Gregg, the better. He was hilarious all the way through. We got all the Thor lines, like we said.
Stand out for me.
He is.
I just think he's brilliant.
Which I can't actually. Do you know what? The only thing I can actually remember seeing him in before anything Marvel related, and I didn't even really notice it was him. He's in AI. You know, the one with Haley Joel Osment. And Jude Law. He's in that. He's just right at the end when whatever the robot kid's name is, when he gets to New York, he's one of the scientists, and that's the only thing I've ever seen him in other than Marvel. But which is weird because he's brilliant. He's so good, Clark Gregg. Again, it was great to see him in here. I loved how his password was hashtag Steve. I love Steve 0704. It was so good. It was so clever, so simple, but so good. I was killing myself. And you know what? I watched this episode like 4 times to do notes, and I watched it with you, watched it with my son, and every time he rattles off his password, I was just like completely gone, like crying and laughing. So funny.
Steve. I heart Steve.
0704. I don't know what that is at the end. It's probably Steve's birthday. It will be. And then last main character anyway, we got was Bruce Banner. Mark Ruffalo though as Bruce Banner, not Ed Norton. And obviously I know we've had Ruffalo for at least 10 years now, or 9 years I think it is. But it was just weird seeing him in that story because that's Ed Norton's story. And it just felt really weird seeing him do that. Yeah. And again, we got Betty back. So we got Betty Ross in the episode we've not seen since Hulk. Not Liv Tyler, obviously. But I wonder whether and kind of hope that we're going to get her back in the MCU at some point. And I think She-Hulk could be the perfect place for her to show up. I said this on Twitter to somebody as well, because I think some people were saying it was a bit... Not whether they're saying it was crappy by Marvel, but saying it was like that was all. Incredible Hulk was Ed Norton's story, and they've sort of taken it away from Ed Norton. That they've now put Ruffalo over it. But I just literally commented randomly, but it did make me think. I wonder whether we'd ever find out that was a variant universe, and Ed Norton's Hulk is a variant of Mark Ruffalo's Hulk, and it's all because Abomination looks different as well in Shang-Chi to how we did in that, so it does make me wonder whether it was different. But that's another thing. Where was Blonsky? Because this whole thing was Iron Man 2 running in the same week as Thor, running the same week as the Incredible Hulk. But when that happened, when Ross rolled up to the university to get Banner, which he obviously did in this episode, in the movie, Abomination or Blonsky, Tim Roth's character, he was there, but there was absolutely no sign of him, which again makes you think: is it a variant universe?
Maybe
is that why he wasn't there? But yeah, other than cast, the episode in itself, I thought the style again, it was the same art, obviously the same art style, but a complete different tone of episode.
And it was totally different.
Yeah. And again, I thought it was good that it wasn't just going. We've had like a proper mix. Like first episode was just proper. It's the same story, but we're changing it a slightly, a tiny little bit, making a Captain Carter instead of Captain America. Last week's went completely off, and then this week has dragged 3 existing stories in, but still felt really, really different. I loved the whole dynamic of going from each day of the week. So it started off on Monday. And then we got Tuesday and Wednesday, and we went on all the way through. And it made me think, do we already know this? Do we know that these 3 movies all happened within the same week in the MCU? Is that a thing I've missed?
I don't know. I've never noticed that.
I assume this is confirming that that's correct, though. Because obviously, I know it's what if, so things change, but these must have all happened in the same week. And I assume that they then found Cap on Friday. It sounds like a really weird Craig David song. No, I'm not going to sing. I'm not going to sing, but I'm sure you could make a parody Craig David song out of it. But it all happened. Yeah, it all happened in the same week, which again, maybe that is a thing that I've just completely missed. Yeah. And then, as we said, we've potentially at the end of the episode got a new team of Avengers, because we've got Cap. He's obviously found Cap in the ice. We've got Captain Marvel now back on Earth years and years earlier. 15 years earlier than she's rolled up in the main timeline. Yeah. And then potentially Loki to fight Thanos. Yeah. So if Thanos does roll up and we end up getting the Infinity War sort of story, that's going to be a very, very different Avengers team. And again, it's set up like I want to see episode 2. I want to see the next episode of this story, but we're probably not going to get to see it. I was surprised that at the end of this episode, we didn't get the tie-in. I thought partly because I thought it seemed like a really, until Hawkeye died anyway, it seemed like a really good opportunity to bring in Captain Carter from the end of the first episode and make the end of that first episode the end of this episode. But obviously once Hawkeye was gone, it wasn't going to happen. Yeah. But also the fact that they released these 3 episodes to like the media and the press, I thought maybe they'd put the twist at the end of that, because that's what they did with WandaVision. They gave us episode 1 and 2, and what episode 2 of WandaVision at the end when the dude comes out the manhole, that's the thing that, and it goes from black and white to color. That's when you start sort of really questioning what is going on at that stage, and it takes you away from the main, this is just a sitcom. So I thought we'd get something like that at this stage. And I suppose I wonder, are we going to get it all fully linked, or is it all just clever marketing? Just still think it's going to be a link, or do you think it is just going to be an anthology series?
I don't know whether it's going to be all of them linking, but I think 1 or 2 may link.
Yeah. I know we've seen them talking. I know we've seen them link in the trailers, but like I said last week, I don't trust her. I don't trust it. But then the Watcher does seem to be getting more involved week by week. Yeah. Like those shots of the Watcher, that shot of the Watcher.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think there was 2. I think there was that first one where it was in the desert and it was Coulson driving. That was absolutely amazing, that shot. And I think there was another one later where he was like standing by a bridge. It was like it was a nighttime shot anyway. Yeah. He does seem to be getting more prominent as we go. Yeah. So he's got to be getting dragged in at some point. What did you think? No, did you think it was as good as last week's? Better than last week's?
I still prefer last week's overall. I do. So far. I think last week's has been the best one so far for me.
I agree. I really enjoyed this one. The fact that it was a different genre, as we said. It was murder mystery. It kept you sort of guessing all the way through. It wasn't. Last week's was great, but I feel like it was mainly down to a lot of Easter eggs.
I think it's the problem with the time constraint again for this one, in that it just felt like it was like duh, 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 and then we found the killer. Do you know what I mean? It was just, I think it was too fast paced for something that was supposed to have that mystery about it.
Yeah, but maybe it did it a favor though, because maybe you would have got onto it if it wasn't so quick. Maybe. Oh, but I get what you're saying though. It needed it like the first 2 episodes. They needed to be 2-hour episodes. That could have easily been a 2-hour live action movie. That story, but they had to get. Supposed to make it as what's the word? Not heavy, but to make it as what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, that's it. Yeah, they had to put in 6 different murders, whereas it would have been a lot better if there'd been 2, but then it wouldn't have had the same element of mystery because it needed to be. It sounds like it needed to be a serial killer. It needed to be that crazy Hank Pym, the serial killer, to make it as good as it was. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think it was better. It was miles better than week 1. But I still think at the moment, T'Challa Star-Lord is the the one to beat.
Yeah.
I think next week it's Party Thor.
Is it?
Which at the moment feels like it's going to be a lot more lighthearted.
Yeah.
And maybe therefore not as good. But then again, this one shocked me.
Yeah.
I thought this one would be a little bit bland. Good episode. I enjoyed it. Should we see what the listeners think? Should we do Pod Fans Assemble?
Let's do it.
Pod Fans Assemble.
Okay, so we started off with the poll saying, what did we all think of this week's episode of What If? 68% of you loved it. 27% said it was okay. And we still had 5% who said they hated it.
I can't wrap my head around that. I get it was okay. I mean, I loved it personally, but I get how people might think it was a bit bland, and again, still down to the pacing. I don't get why people are hating it. I can't wrap my head around it.
No.
What do you want, people? What do you want, people? Come on, it was good. Enjoy it. Just enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah. So we had Stephanie Tittle say, I think the only reason I have nothing to say about What If is because they are already giving us batshit crazy fan fiction, fan theories in cartoon form. Like, what more is there for me to say other than that was some crazy What If shit right there? Hashtag yellow jacket.
Hashtag yellow jacket. Yeah, I like that. That's good. It's true. It is like they need to do a What If episode of Isaiah with the shield. Come on, Marvel.
Yeah.
Do it. That's what these are for. We need a Mephisto in Loki and a Mephisto in WandaVision. Do we do WandaVision and Loki and Falcon and Winter Soldier? Might as well just do all those episodes with Mephisto in them as What If episodes. This is what it's for, isn't it? And again, this is why we just need to enjoy it, because it's just, even if it is just a pure anthology series, it's a bit of fun. It's a bit of fun. It is What If, isn't it? Yeah,
exactly. So we then had Lana. I hated it, but liked it too. Contradiction, I know, but welcome to the world of Aquarius. Tony Stark, though, again, why? Still not over Endgame, like we won't ever be, and now this. Oh yeah,
I get that. I kind of get that. It's I suppose
kill him in 5 minutes after we give him back.
It wasn't even 5 minutes. It was 5 minutes, mate. It was very, considering how sort of like big and grand and important his death was in Endgame. Just have him die while he's eating a donut in this one was just a complete contrast. But I kind of liked it.
Yeah. We then had KW Weldon say, finally, an episode that sought to use the what if concept to get the fandom out of its comfort zone. Where the previous two seemed intent on pandering to the headcanon of fans with perfect heroes, this one came in swinging and slapping the smiles off faces. Loved it. Never looked at it that way. Fair play.
Yeah. No, but it's good. Spot on, isn't it?
Yeah. My Cinema Adventure said this one was pretty good. For me, I think episode 2 is still the best. Yeah, agreed. I thought it was interesting bringing in Pym. Did not expect that twist, and I like the partnership Loki and Fury had. I wonder if it'll be only Captain Marvel that'll go up against Loki, or if there'll be more. Oh.
Yeah, see, I didn't even think of them going up against Loki. I just thought Loki would have to be on their side because of Earth. But I suppose it will be. He's now going to have to put, that's very interesting. I like that. This is like the team. What team is left to, because we've got, my first thought then was like Ant-Man and Hope, but Hope's dead. And Scott Lang's never going to become Ant-Man because Hank Pym's in a mental institution now. Yeah. So we've not got them. I assume he's in a mental institution anyway. But he's gone. We've got Black Panther. We still have Black Panther.
Yeah.
So we've got Cap, Black Panther. Well, yeah, you must do. Unless it's in the same universe as T'Challa Star-Lord.
Unless it's Killmonger.
I'm just confused. In my head. But I love it. I like being confused. That's weird, but I like it.
We then had Paul Sears who said, I think this is my favourite one yet. Thought it was a good idea to go back to the first Avengers film. Kept me guessing as to who was behind it all and was pleasantly surprised when revealed. This What If series is getting better with each episode, a solid 9 out of 10.
Sounds fair play. Yeah, I can see why. I see why it might be your favourite, but I agree. It's getting stronger all the way through. I think it was good as well going back to the first Avengers film. Again, as much as I love the first Avengers film, I didn't think there was much that could be done with that to go down the what if route. But this has completely proven me wrong. Yeah, I'm very out there as well. Completely.
I know. We then had Rachel Miller who said loved it. I really didn't see any of that episode coming at all, or who the killer was. Took me by surprise, which I liked. Loved seeing the scenes we know, but then they divert off into something else. Loki was, as always, amazing. Saw a tweet saying, "Now we know." # President Loki Nexus event. So yeah, just like what we said.
So you said, yeah, we could end up with it. Yeah, he might be the Loki who ended up in the void. Yeah, loses his hand to alligator Loki.
I want to see more of alligator Loki. I'm all about that.
I do.
Kids, what are we watching tonight? Said definitely an interesting story, which is the point, but not a great episode. Wasn't a fan of the villain either. So yeah, I can get that. I can get it. I don't think it was the strongest option. It was a good twist, but I don't know. It just seems a little bit too old manny to be able to pull something like that off.
Yeah, but he's Ant-Man. He's got the yellow jacket suit, and he's super strong. I would agree with that up until the point where Michael Douglas sort of got going. I was disappointed where as I said, I thought it must be somebody else. There must be something more to this, but I don't know. Yeah. Batshit crazy Michael Douglas. Oh, not Michael Douglas. Batshit crazy Hank Pym. Oh, Michael Douglas. That would have been a good bad guy. But yeah, batshit crazy Hank Pym. I thought that was quite good. He's a bit nuts anyway, isn't he? So it's not a massive reach to make him go down this route.
He was totally insane. Do you know?
But he was 99% insane in Ant-Man and in Ant-Man 2.
You know the drawing of his face though at that scene when it was close up. Do you know what it reminded me of?
What?
Cruella de Vil in 101 Dalmatians.
I haven't seen that for years.
Like the eyes. I don't. If anybody understands what I'm saying, it's like the eyes. It's when Cruella's like going absolutely crazy towards the end, and it just,
crazy eyes.
Yeah, and it just reminded me of that when I was looking at him. Anyway,
okay.
Peacemaker said. Moving on.
You said it.
Peacemaker said the episode was the best of the 3 so far. My jaw dropped so many times, but I do feel the twist was a bit too obvious. I figured out who it was halfway through. This episode once again made me think these would have been better or released at once. I don't know what to expect. You see, it's weird because Peacemaker saying he knows what to expect. He figured it out, and then there's people going, no idea.
I had no idea.
I had no idea
at all. Peacemaker is the world's greatest detective, though, clearly, because I was not on top of that at all. At the same time, I can get maybe if I'd heard things right and I'd heard it's all about Hope instead of it's all about Hulk, maybe I'd have got onto the fact that it was Hank Pym a little bit earlier. But yeah, I think I saw some people saying that even when Betty Ross said that there's been a projectile out of the syringe rather than it being poison that had killed Tony. A few people online said that they got onto it at that stage. So I can sort of get it, but I didn't until I saw Hank Pym. Didn't even think of him. Didn't even cross my mind.
Yeah. We then had Kenneth. Brutal stuff on the Avengers body count. Wow, Betty Ross cameo was really cool. Just realised how much I missed Phil Coulson in MCU. It's a lot. The Hulk is hot. Need to see more of that Hulk in the MCU. And this episode was fantastic. Great twist at the end. 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10. I like it. 9 out of 10. Yeah. I like the fact that people are liking this one. And I like the fact, again, that we've got such a mix. Yeah. Some people saying they don't like it. It's the 5% of people in the poll saying that they absolutely hated it. And then we've got Kenneth. And I think we said Paul as well, you said, giving it like a 9 out of 10. I think I love how divisive this series is. I do enjoy it. Not that I'm just after controversy, but I like how it's got people thinking different things.
So then we've got Kit Kat G. Jones. Absolutely awesome. The humour was great. The jokes about Thor's hair. Loki was fabulous as always. Hank commenting on how spry Fury was. The Thor hair stuff was really good. So silly and obvious jokes, but I think Clark Gregg nailed it. The execution was perfect, wasn't it? So so we then got James saying, to be honest, I think it's the weakest episode so far. I like the idea, but it felt a bit, this happened, and then. I feel like the woman off Dude, Where's My Car?
Dude, Where's My Car? And then. Sorry. And then this also happened. And then it was spoiler all along, despite no real setup or payoff. And then there was somebody who commented afterwards saying, Beth,
saying, yeah, I thought the concept was sound, but same as the comment above, the payoff of the villain wasn't great. In fact, my other half predicted who the bad guy was very quickly. Great to see Nick Fury come into his own a bit more, though.
Yeah, it was good to see Nick Fury, but I still can't 100% get how people have got onto it so quickly. But yeah, well done if you have. I don't know. I think I don't 100% agree with it. I mean, I enjoyed it. We're all going to like different things, as we said, but I liked. As I said, it would have been great if we had longer for it, but it's the fact that they've had to cram it all into 28 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
It was gonna feel very, 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 very quick moving. And again, it's the third episode in, and we're constantly getting people saying pacing issues, basically. And yeah, it's going to happen, but I think we need to get over the pacing issues now because it's 28 minutes. We know they're going to try and cram tons into it. It's not like if it was a 28-minute episode, but there was one huge story arc going through the whole thing, you could get away with it, but you're not. Yeah. They're all individual stories. We just need to sort of get,
they'll pack it in. They'll pack it all in.
We just need to accept that they're gonna fly through these episodes and enjoy them for what they are.
Yeah. And then finally from Geeky Nate, we have a what if question. And it's what if
we haven't had one of them yet for a while.
What if Cap never plummeted into the ice and survived after defeating Red Skull?
Oh, so Cap has. So he survived anyway, didn't he? But he's basically been awake the entire time.
Yeah. So he'd be
how much of a difference?
Old Cap that we saw at the end of Endgame in real time.
I don't know. I think we'd have. I think if that had happened, we'd have Steve potentially being quite high. We'd have loads. Okay, I keep in my head. I know this isn't great listening, podcast listeners. Sorry, I keep going down one route in my head and then jumping off. So the things that I'm thinking are, we wouldn't have a united Avengers team because I think Cap did a lot to bring them together in the Avengers movie, and I think we'd probably be going down the route of this what if episode to a degree, but instead of them, which is what the way I thought it was going to go, rather than them all dying, them just not being one united team. So I think we'd potentially have that. But then I thought, would Cap even be about, or would they have got rid of him? Because I thought, well, maybe he'd be running S.H.I.E.L.D. at this point, or he'd be extremely high up in S.H.I.E.L.D. But then you've got to remember, Hydra have been running S.H.I.E.L.D. for years. So Hydra would have got rid of him very quickly. But then would Hydra have been running S.H.I.E.L.D., or would Cap have sort of stopped that years and years ago?
Yeah.
So I don't think Cap would have got onto it. No. I don't think Cap would have got onto the fact that S.H.I.E.L.D. were running it, because he only sort of got onto it in Winter Soldier when Black Widow and Nick Fury helped him figure out that they were running it. And Nick Fury obviously didn't figure that out until Winter Soldier. So I think they would have bumped Cap off. So I think we wouldn't have a Cap now. He'd still be dead at some point. And I feel like that would have had massive ramifications for the MCU. Yeah. Hydra wouldn't have been brought down because Cap brought down Hydra. So that wouldn't have happened. Hydra would still be running S.H.I.E.L.D. And as a result, we wouldn't have our United Avengers, which would probably mean that when Thanos then decided to try and take over the universe, or not take over, but destroy half the universe, he would have won, and there would have been nobody to defeat him. What do you reckon? Or have I just hit that perfectly?
I don't like giving you points. No.
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 I can tell by the look on your face. You're like, shit.
No. It's yeah. It can just go off into so many different directions, can't it? That's the thing.
Yeah.
There's literally so many variables when you.
And that's the beauty of what if, that tiny little thing. How many different avenues it could go down, I suppose.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my answer. And Anthony reluctantly, I can tell by the look on his face, you agree with me, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, go on then. Well, give me this. Give me a win, Anthony. Right? Should we do? Thank you everybody for the thoughts, and to Nate for the what if scenario this week.
Yeah.
Should we do wrap up?
Let's do it.
Thanks for listening to the show, and don't forget to come back next week for our review and recap of What If episode 3, which is probably going to be the Party Thor episode. You can find all our episodes at thatsuperherothing.com, along with all of our social media links. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. On the website, you can also sign up for our email newsletter, where you receive new episode alerts, news on upcoming shows, and some behind-the-scenes looks at the show. You can contact us on any of our socials and submit thoughts and theories for next week's Podfans Assemble. If you've enjoyed the show, please do consider rating and reviewing the show on Apple iTunes. It really does help us get seen and noticed by more people and sort of move up the rankings so more people will listen to the show. Also, if you enjoy the show, thank you again for listening and for all your support. As we said at the start of the show, we do have the Patreon releasing on the 1st September. All the links to that will be on socials and will be on the website, and we'll just keep plugging it like every week.
Yeah.
Tell you to go and check on the Patreon. When we update it, we'll let you know what new things are going on there.
Yeah.
As I said, we'll be putting, I think one thing we didn't say before, we're going to put outtakes on there. We say that because we've just had loads and we've edited them out. That's the thing about this. That's the thing about this show. But yeah, all that sort of stuff will be on there too. Cannot wait to share all the stuff we've done so far for it with you guys, and all the outtakes as well. Other than that, though, that is everything from me. Thanks very much. We'll see you next week.
Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.